Okay, hello everybody and welcome to this week's Thursday 30. We've got Ed and Hadil from BrightSign Glove with us today. Hello. And they're going to give us an overview of what this wonderful glove can do. And I know some of you are already familiar with it, but I'll hand straight over to you to explain it a bit more. Thank you.
Cool. So hi everybody. It's myself, Hadil, and Ed, and we're the founders of BrightSign. What is BrightSign? BrightSign is a smart glove that translates sign language to text and speech. We like to say that it could translate any sign to any language, even signs that you've made up yourself. We'll talk a little bit more about how that works and what software enables that when we talk about the specifications. First, the size of the problem and why we decided to develop this kind of tech. There's 230 million people around the world that are nonverbal, and that's caused by different disabilities. 90% of them, or 90% of deaf children specifically, are born to hearing parents, but only 25% of parents can sign or learn how to sign to help their kids with daily communication outside of the family and school environment. Sadly, only 2% have access to sign language education and assistive technology, which is what BrightSign is classified under. And it's technology that helps people with disabilities overcome their challenges, especially for daily interactions. We looked at what is available in the market and what are people using, and it was summarized under hardware and software linked together. As you can see, they're either applications or on smart devices or a tablet that comes with it. Applications are monthly subscriptions, and devices linked to that is a one-off purchase, usually shouldered by the council or the school, depending on the location. Our perspective was that it only solves one side of the communication problem, and it does not encourage social interaction, especially for younger children. And so after a lot of research and talking to tons of parents and schools and therapists, they summarized the problems in existing technology as under three main categories, and those were our research problems for 3 years when we were trying to develop BrightSign. Number one is that assistive technology available in the market today was very, very expensive, and if you want to customize that, that jumps to double or triple the cost. We all know that disability comes in different combinations, so customization actually key. So they did complain that it was not customizable to individual needs and that it only solves one way of the communication problem. We want to show you a demo. I don't know how easy it'll be to jump out of the screen sharing.
Let's do that there.
Okay.
Should be back now.
Here we go. Okay, so this is the glove and this is the app that comes with it. I taught my glove my signs, so it might not be signs that you're familiar with or you use, but the glove learns from me and it understands my signs.
Hello, my name is Hadil. This glove translates my signs into speech.
And so, for example, if I'm in a cafe.
Can I have coffee, please?
And then we've got holiday mode, where we can actually change the language to any other language and voice between male and female. So I'm gonna choose French because that's easy for me.
Puis-je prendre du café, s'il vous plaît? Merci.
Okay, so that's the demo. I'm pretty sure you have a lot of questions, but we'll do the questions later, and I'll keep wearing the glove so that I could show you more features when you ask your questions. Okay, so you want to talk about the features?
Sure. So the glove has a number of different features. So the biggest one, of course, is that it supports sign language, and you can teach different sign languages, and you can teach it any gesture at all. So it can work with any user as long as they have some range of hand movement. It's good. That could be gross motor only, no ability to move the fingers, or it could be fine motor only. They can't move their arm and can only move their fingers. our job is to have it recognize any sign from just one example of that sign and then spit that out in the voice of your choice. And all of that can happen offline. Right now, we support over 40 different spoken languages. We have 450 odd different voice options with different like regional accents, genders, ages, so that everyone can try and pick a voice that fits their identity. And for at least for users that are able to read, we've added a two-way conversation system in as well. So while you can see and read what you're signing as it goes out, you can also see what anyone else says to you as it comes back in. And on top of that, we try to make it as cost effective as humanly possible. So even on top of our retail prices, which are already slightly lower than the existing ones, we also work with a load of charities. We have interest-free financing to spread the cost over several years, as well as our own internal affordability programs for people that slip through the gaps of any of the different schemes that they could normally get it. So in the box, you obviously get the glove itself that you saw on Hadil, as well as a wearable smart speaker that kind of clips onto your shirt with a magnet. It's very, very easy. I can do this. It basically just folds over, and so it can go onto a shirt, it can go onto a bag strap, and then it means you can put your phone or tablet or whatever you use to run our app away in a bag or in a pocket and have the voice come straight out instead. Of course, as well, it's got a getting started guide, micro USB charger so that you can keep everything charged. And the battery life lasts for 10 to 12 hours of actual signing time. So right now, Hadil's not signing. This doesn't really count towards like proper usage. So we usually recommend that users charge every night or every other night, depending on how much they use it. Do you want to go through this appropriate?
Yeah. So we operate mainly in the education sector. There's a lot of other applications outside of the sign language world, obviously, but we're not going to cover that here. We do focus on education, especially inclusive learning and inclusive classrooms, and a lot of the programs where they want to basically have children with different abilities in the same class, and they always rely on technology, and that's where we fit in. The same tablets we saw at the beginning of the presentation is being used for the same purpose, and we are trying to complement that, especially for children who are able to sign and comfortable signing, are also consistent in signing, or in the process of learning how to sign, to encourage them to get through to their friends, new teachers, and people who don't really, they're not experts in sign language. With professionals, we really try to complement the gap of the shortage of interpreters, especially when it comes to aligning schedules, business trips, important talks. And so having a translator in your pocket can really, really help as a one-off purchase, but then can always help them with like business speeches, for example. For the older community, especially the group of people who actually lost the ability to talk later in life, a lot of them don't know how to sign. And so this is where our AI software comes handy, because then they can teach the glove their own signs based on their ability. If they can't rotate their hand fully or they can't really bend their fingers, that's not a problem, because they can then teach the glove according to their ability the words that they want to communicate to their carers or their family, as long as they remember what the sign was for tired, for example, and they're consistent with that, they'll be able to communicate. For public accessibility units like airports, police investigations, even shopping centers, they found it useful, even though it wasn't designed for that purpose, to basically save the time of waiting for an interpreter when things happen. And also in privacy situations when they don't want an interpreter in the room but want to communicate with someone who can't speak. And so these are like a handful of cases, but have become very popular use and application of BrightSign. Now for B2C, which is individual sales, everything is available online. We, often don't even get contacted unless they have a question. People hear about us from events or exhibitions, or sometimes social media, or some kind of coverage. And then they just go on our website. There's a full list of demos and tutorials of how to use it, what kind of tech is suitable for what needs, and they can just order it. They'll have it in a few days and they can set it up themselves. We are available 24 hours across different channels for support, but we try to really provide step-by-step instructions in our tutorial guides, especially on YouTube. For B2B, like schools or healthcare clinics, or even employers who have a big group of users, we actually set up the tech with them. We help them customize the tech to their specific application if they have a specific vocabulary or they want it uploaded with certain terms. We also provide multiple user accounts, so more than one person can use the glove, and backing up the signs, moving it between devices, and so forth. Government usually is completely bespoke service, so I don't know if we should really focus on that area. This is all the countries that BrightSign is operating in at the moment. CENMAC is actually one of our partners here in the UK. It was the very, very first assistive technology for education that we worked with, even before we launched and became public on the market.
So then lastly, we sort of move on to some case studies and user testing that we did. So we've done several tests both in the UK and overseas as well. And throughout that whole process, we spoke with speech language therapists, teachers, users, and their parents to get feedback along the whole way. We found that the primary reason that, from the perspective of speech language therapists and teachers, they wanted to adopt BrightSign is to support an education. Obviously, there's additional help with social behavior, integration to the mainstream classroom environments, that kind of thing as well. But being able to support with education and help with a student's education, communication with teachers, that kind of thing, and particularly learning sign language, was one of the biggest reasons. When it then came to asking users and their parents, however, things like voice selection, design, and the ability to teach it any sign at all, any gesture that they wanted, were by far the most important features to them. And so those are what we've really focused on improving and developing as much as we can there. Lastly, when it came to actual tangible improvement that users saw, again, we surveyed the users, their parents, and their teachers to get specific results as to how they felt they'd improved due to BrightSign on different metrics. As you can see from this, it's the biggest factor that it can help with is it can make someone more independent, so they're able to communicate on their own without needing to go through a teacher or a carer or whatever. They could communicate with their peers, with anyone they wanted to, independently. Naturally, it doesn't have so much of an impact on academics. Of course, it can aid in communication with teachers and that kind of thing, but it doesn't have so much of an impact directly on academics because that's not so much the focus. But as you can also see, it can also work to improve inclusion and develop students' relationships with each other as well, particularly in like mixed communication environments. That's not relevant. The last thing that we've started doing both towards the end of last year and this year is 2-week trial periods for any schools that want them in the UK. We've got a very sort of clean process for that. We ship the gloves out, next day delivery. We'll walk the Senko or whoever it is that's doing the trial to get the glove set up, try it with their students, and then at the end we do it with a prepaid shipping label to send it right back again. So everything can be very hands-off, and of course we support throughout the whole of that. Do you want to?
So this is a parent testimony that's very dear to our hearts because it was the first ever adopter of BrightSign, and it was the first contact we got while we were in development, and they heard about this in the news. And their feedback was very helpful for us when we were in development to know exactly what they needed and why they wanted this technology. I didn't include accessories in the like, but we'll show it.
We'll show this.
Yeah.
Can we end now?
Yeah, we can end this now. And so, for accessories, we have now, basically a couple of months ago, did these charms, like different characters and the like, that we can put on the glove so that kids can personalize them if multiple kids are using them at the same time, or they want to personalize them with their favorite character. We also have different colors for the casing, again, to identify the gloves, and also to, you know, maybe match the glove with what they're wearing for the day. These gloves are fully washable, so if you remove this bit of the circuit, then all the sensors inside the glove are totally safe to be machine washable, and obviously it's very required with kids who use them every day in school. We also have like a case that can be used to keep BrightSign, you know, safe if you're going to put it in your backpack. This is the speaker Ed was talking about with a magnetic like backing. I usually put it in my collar. Ed likes to put it in his shirt. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. So we're happy to take your questions if you have any.
Wonderful, thank you. That was a really interesting walkthrough. Yeah, so if there's anyone with questions, if you'd like to just unmute yourselves or type into the chat if you're more happy to do that. Do you know how many people are using the glove at the moment?
So it's a little bit difficult to get exact numbers of users because, as we were talking about, we have like multiple user accounts. So there's not necessarily a one-to-one mapping of users to gloves. Right now, we have about 400 gloves in concurrent operation. So there's probably a few more users than that, given no one's going to use 2 gloves for themselves at the same time. Yeah, there's, you know, of that order of magnitude at least.
And then there's 2 similar questions that have just come up at the same time. So do the gloves come in different sizes, and does it come in different sizes for children to use?
Yes. So you only need to wear the glove on your dominant hand, even if you're signing with 2 hands. So we have right and left gloves, and then we have them in different sizes for you know, adults, teenagers, kids. We actually have incidental to that, we have a like a glove upgrade program that allows users to trade in their old gloves for discounts on larger sizes. But because particularly younger users, well, obviously their hands will change size as they go.
Yeah. And then somebody else has also asked how long it takes to program the glove to do the signs.
So all you need to do to teach it a new sign is type in whatever word or phrase. You can even use emojis that you want it to correspond to, and show it one example of it. It's literally enough. So if your sign is hello like this, you would type it in, press go, done, and that's it. So it's very, very quick to build up like quite a large library. Our target for optimization is that we try and to make the glove easier to set up with, is to get set up enough with a full library to be able to go out on your own, order coffee without any support within the first hour. That's so that's what we work to as the
Yeah. I mean, I can confirm it's very quick. I've used it with a year 2 student before, and he was, you know, able to program the signs very quickly with a bit of support from his TA. Just wanted to ask about the library of signs as well. Does that back up somewhere now?
Yes. So we recently rebuilt a whole app from the ground up. So that so the way that it works is you sign in with an account on the device. Now the entire thing runs offline as long as you want it to, but whenever it is connected to the internet, it will synchronize with the cloud. So everything's backed up continuously. It also means that if you were to have multiple devices signed into the same account, all of the signs would be continuously synchronized onto both of them. So you could potentially have a device at school and a device at home, and then whichever one you're using, everything will be synchronized to the other one pretty much in real time.
Yeah.
So you can switch directly between the 2 if you want to.
Yeah. And Elizabeth has just asked, can it be used on any phone?
Yes, Android, iOS, phones and tablets. So you can use it on iPads and Android tablets as well.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And James wants to know how the characters stick onto the glove, just out of curiosity.
Velcro. So we've got Velcro patches, you know, here. It's probably not visible because it's black.
Yeah.
I can try.
Okay.
There's
Because it
Velcro.
looked like you just stuck it and it magically stuck.
Yeah, see, you
Oh,
can
I see the Velcro now, yeah.
So
Yeah,
there's Velcro on the back of the
So
hand and
once I
several
put
panels on the
this-
wrist too.
that's
Okay.
it sticks. Yeah.
There's several panels on the wrist as well. So you,
Yeah.
not just for our charms, but if any other attachments or accessories you want to be able to put on there.
Thank you. That makes sense.
It was
Lovely,
a design decision that we thought was simple, but turned out to be a nightmare to execute, actually. Or
Okay,
very
any other questions there in the chats? How many students with learning disabilities are using the glove?
So the single biggest, as we were saying, there's a lot of different groups there. The single biggest group that we have is kids with nonverbal autism.
Yeah.
That's our most popular
group of users.
group of
Yeah.
users there. So, but because of the fact that it can learn any sign, we found that in many respects, deaf children that are in schools for the deaf, there's already a huge amount of support there. They're communicating in full formal BSL with their peers, with their teachers. So we don't try and fit ourselves in there so much. Our primary focus has been on children with learning disabilities and physical disabilities, and then how that goes into complex needs as well.
Yeah. So majority of them.
Majority basically.
Majority,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's another comment. Looks fantastic. It really is. Yeah. Okay, I think that might be all of the questions now, unless anyone's got a last one they want to throw in there. Last question. It really is amazing. How much does it cost?
So we retail officially on our website for £2,000 ex VAT. Obviously, most people are going to be either businesses, and anyone else who's going to not going to have to pay VAT anyway, because can't remember what they call it, the disability adjustment that means that you don't have to pay VAT on assistive tech. However, a tiny minority of our users actually pay for the tech themselves. Our goal is for no one to ever have to buy it for themselves. So whether that means their employer getting it, their school getting it, their local council getting it, a charity, that's really the goal there. In the event that someone falls through all of those gaps and we can't match them with someone and can't do anything there, then we fall back to the interest-free financing and our own affordability schemes to be able to knock the price down a lot for an individual user to be able to pay for it.
Amazing. That's really good to hear. Thank you. Thank you so much for doing the session today, and thank you to everyone who's joined. And do you have contact details if anyone would like to get in contact with you after the event? Yeah.
Yes, of course.
We can put it in the chat.
So our main general email for anyone to reach out, and this
goes to all of us.
This goes to the whole team. So whatever time of day or night, whatever day of the week you email, someone will pick it up straight away.
Yeah.
Basically.
Or if you remember the website, BrightSignGlove.com, there's so many different ways to reach us there.
Yeah. Phone, email, WhatsApp, any of our social media accounts, live chat on the website.
Wonderful. Well, that was a really helpful and informative session. I think that's brilliant. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Keep having us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Have a nice evening. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.